2 years ago, we learned how to paint up 1/35th scale Luftwaffe pilot figures. So today, we're going to take it down a little bit smaller and check out the same thing in 1/48th scale. 1/48th scale pilot figures made easy. Let's get into it.
Alright my friends, for today's lesson, we're going to be painting up this beautiful 1/48th scale resin figure from the Spanish company Dolman Miniatures. This figure of course depicts the swaggering, cigar-smoking 104 victory fighter ace Adolf Galland, who at the age of 29 became the youngest general in German military history. So, let's get this figure out of the box and build him up. This kit also comes with a fine depiction of Galland's dog Schweinebauch, or pork belly, which is an incredible name, and we'll paint that little fella up on a later day. With our figure all cleaned and assembled, the first thing to do, as always, let's spray him up with a coat of black primer to give us a nice base to work with. With our primer coat applied, let's next load up our airbrush with a bit of flat flesh. We're going to spray this all over our figure's face here. Don't worry about overspray up on his crush cap. We'll come back and paint over that in just a bit. Next, we're going to block in the main color of his leather flying jacket here with some wrought brawn. Now, this is a bit of a bold color, but stick with me. At this very, very small scale, I want to exaggerate some of these contrasts a bit to really help catch the eye and draw attention to our little figure here. Okay, with our main color sprayed on, let's load up a nice fine tipped brush with some German camo dark green and start painting in his pants. Now, these wool Luftwaffe uniforms came in a muted blue, like you can see in the reference photo here, but I really do like this particular paint, and I think it captures the look of a well-worn and broken-in pair of these trousers quite well. Next, we're going to jump up to our head and block in the top of his officer's crush cap with some dark green. Again, these would be issued in that same dark blue wool, but I feel that this German camo green does a better job representing the uniform at this scale than a super bright, vibrant blue. You'll see what I mean with our finished product. With the top of our cap blocked in, we're next going to very carefully draw in both the visor of his cap and the band around it with some flat black. Take your time, make deliberate motions here. You can see I've got pretty shaky hands. The coffee definitely wasn't helping, but have faith, you can do it. Okay, now let's load up a bit of white aluminum on a very, very fine tipped brush and draw in some of the details on this crush cap. First, we have a silver band going across the front of the visor here, and I will say, this particular likeness of Galland is taken from a photo when he was still a major. Crush caps for Luftwaffe generals would have gold piping, so worth taking note of that. We're also very carefully going to draw in our eagle on the crown of the hat, and then we'll lightly brush in some silver piping all around the upper portions of the hat. Don't worry if it's a bit messy, it likely will be, mine is as you can see here, but we can come back and clean that all up, no problem. At this stage, we can paint in Galland's trademark mustache here. My big head got in the way for the actual application, but there you go. And then we'll paint in that equally iconic cigar with a bit of chocolate brown. Okay, whew, we can catch our breath here. The hard stuff up on the head is done. Switching gears back down to our body, let's start to paint in the shearling on his jacket. I'm using a bit of tan earth here. Take care not to overpaint to the best of your ability. Less mess to clean up that way, especially over colors that we've previously airbrushed. Now, Galland has one exposed hand here holding this document, so let's paint that up with a bit of flat flesh to match our face. At this scale, I find that a single basic flesh tone will get the job done. Once we do a bit of weathering at the end, we'll get plenty of detail to really add some life and authenticity to our figure. Next, we can take a bit of flat black and start to draw in this big leather belt around his waist. And then we'll take some of that same dark green that we've used for the rest of our Luftwaffe uniform and make sure we paint in his Fliegerblouse under the leather jacket. At this stage, let's also make sure to clean up his flying boots with a quick coat of flat black as well. We can go ahead now and add a little bit of detail to his belt with a bit of white aluminum, and we can also accentuate the zipper detail on his jacket with that same color. And then finally, let's go ahead and block in this document he's holding with some creme of ice. Alright, with our painting complete, let's spray the whole figure with a coat of gloss varnish to seal in our work and prepare for weathering. Let's go ahead and carefully mount Galland's head with a bit of super glue. And once our gloss varnish has dried and cured completely, let's come back and do a little wash to accentuate the details of this fantastic little sculpt. Now, usually I do this with a combination of enamel dark wash and enamel thinner, but today I've experimented by using the same technique and substituting a bit of Flory dark dirt wash and some tap water instead. I will say I was very happy with the results, and the product dried much more quickly than using the enamel alternative, so something to keep in mind for yourself down the road. At this stage, I also made the decision that our figure needed some more detail in his eyes. Usually, I'll leave 1/48 scale figures without any eye detail other than the basic accentuation from the wash, but I decided that this particular figure would benefit from an eye line. And once that's done, all that's left to do is spray our figure with a coat of matte varnish to protect our work and knock down any excess shininess. And with that, we've got ourselves a professional, high-quality scale figure to help tell the stories of your 1/48 scale aircraft builds. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to check out some more 1/48 scale tutorials, you can do so right here. And until next time, my friends, be well, happy building, cheers.